Hey, Zane Griggs here. So did you know that you can actually change fat cells into muscle cells or even other connective tissue, nerve cells, bone cells, just by our lifestyle, by the way we eat, by the way we exercise? It's really wasn't thought to be possible for a long time. It wasn't. They thought, oh, once a cell was in a certain category or was created a certain way, like a fat cell was there, it was there forever. It was a fat cell forever, right? And you always had it. You could dry it up, but it was always there. Doesn't seem to be the case. So some scientists actually found there's just certain cells in our body, stem cells, which you all heard of stem cells, that can actually change, okay, based on the need of the body, based on the way they're signaled. Now we all know the way we eat can determine the types of proteins we create, or how quickly cells divide, or even what type of cells. They actually determines what type of cells something becomes as well. So this isn't totally new information because food is information, right? Food can heal us. Food is considered medicine by many DOs and naturopaths. They use food for medicine. So believe it or not, you've experienced this in some way, whether it's from fat to muscle or muscle to fat. Like, why is this fat suddenly accumulating around my hips? My weight hasn't changed. Well, no, but some muscle may have transferred from your leg from the leg muscle into a fat cell because lack of need in the muscle, and because the way we're eating and living has signaled our body to create fat cells. So this is something we've experienced. We just didn't realize what was going on, but it's very much tied to how we eat and how we exercise. So, and many of us have tried to, many people try to lose weight by under eating, okay? So we try to starve our bodies, right? And low calorie diet, but we're not really changing much else, not changing what we're eating, not changing the exercise. And so what happens by under eating is we kind of create this kind of a panic in ourselves. We'll start, okay, food is scarce, we're not moving around much, so we're probably there's a shortage of food, we're not hunting things, we're not going after things, we're not moving much, so we've got to conserve energy. And when we conserve energy, that means when hunger finally gets to you and you do eat, or you go back to your normal diet or a more normal diet, your body soaks all that up and starts stuffing in fat cells. So you end up doing the yo-yo thing, right? So some of you experience the yo-yo diet or know what that is, because after starvation or a low-calorie diet, your body's like, push it back in there, right? Because there's nothing telling it to signal muscle, to create more bone, blood vessels. We're not changing the way we've eaten, so we're still signaling insulin, right, to create more fat cells. But through this process, it's called differentiation. Okay, so we just discovered this. Funny how they discovered it. So I got to tell you this because it's a little sidebar. You know how many people get fat injections in their face to kind of puff it up, make them look young again? Because young people, pretty young people have collagen under their skin, around their forehead, where they don't have the wrinkles like I do. Right here, they get the lips start thinning, collagen starts to decrease. Excess sugar, by the way, actually has an effect on collagen production and how quickly you lose it, okay? Excess sugar. Glycation, ages, right? Anyway, so people having these injections after a number of months realized, whoa, that's not as plump as it was after I got those injections. The cells started diminishing. So they looked into this. The scientists actually looked into, well, why is this happening? Because that's money. These people are paying for this. Why is this fat going away? Well, because the environment around it, okay, wasn't really producing any hormones to say, keep the fat there. It wasn't producing hormones saying, let's keep fat going to feed these cells to keep them nice and plump. So what's happening, the fat would diminish out of the fat would diminish out of the cells, or what was injected, okay? But also some of those cells actually transformed into the fibrocytes, or the other cells in the skin that they were around. So the fat cells not only shrunk, but some of them changed into and took on the characteristics of the other cells around them in the face where they'd been injected. Pretty crazy, right? So they started looking deeper and found that, okay, well, like fat is a connective tissue. So is muscle, tendon, nerve, bone, all of these these stem cells can transform into these, and based on our signaling, okay, so for instance, when we exercise, lift weights, reduce sugar, okay, get rid of polyunsaturated cooking oils, okay, then we free up cells to move like they're supposed to. We're not signaling fat to be created, and we're also signaling muscle to be created. When we signal muscle to be created, well, one, that takes fat energy to create that. It takes energy to create that muscle and tissue. And so we can actually transfer, it's like, well, where are we going to get this tissue? Well, it takes it from where you're no longer signaling to create fat. Fat's no longer needed. It shrinks them up. It turns them back into stem cells. The stem cell is sent from the fat tissue to the muscle or bone, wherever its new location is that the body needs it. And it takes on the characteristics of that new tissue environment. And some of you experience this, as I said, maybe you've started exercising and eating better, and the scale isn't moving, but you could tell something's changing. Your clothes fit better. You're a little thinner in some spots. Maybe you're getting a little more firmness. You know, basically your body composition is changing. Your clothes are fitting different. The scale isn't moving. It's frustrating you. But you should not be frustrated, because that means you are making a difference. You're changing. You're changing fat cells into muscle cells, or bone, or blood vessel, or nerve. Okay, because that's what you're signaling your body to do. And so the fluffy fat cell that takes up more space becomes a more dense, okay, smaller muscle cell, bone, ligament, what have you. So it takes up less space, so your size changes, but the mass is still there. The mass of that cell is still there, so the weight that was in this fluffy fat cell is essentially, give or take, of course, some micro, whatever they measure cells in, is virtually the same weight in the muscle cell. It's just smaller and denser and has a lot more going on, a lot more active. So don't be dismayed when you start exercising. That's good. That's changing fat cells into muscle or bone or other tissue that is non-fat. So hey, Lori, that's right. Yeah, you've asked me about this before, I think, and so you know what I'm talking about. This is normal. This is a good thing. So don't be dismayed. Eventually, you know, our bodies don't really like to pack on a lot of muscle, especially if you're past, say, 25. Okay, it's really hard to put on muscle. It takes a lot of work. So don't think by doing that you're going to suddenly wake up and you look like an East German, you know, power lifter. So it's just not going to happen. East Germany, for you young folks, that used to be a divided country. You know, some of you probably don't remember that. But my point is that it's hard to put on muscle, so eventually you will just start diminishing the fat. The fat cells shrink up, they turn into baby fat cells, and then they can actually go through apoptosis and just die. They kill themselves off. So that's the goal, but it's through the proper diet and exercise, strength training, ideally. Cardio in there as well, high intensity intervals. All those things that signal muscle growth, muscle development, more blood vessels, more nerve cells, more bone density, okay? All that leads to a leaner body composition. I just helped a buddy of mine put on 15 to 18 pounds of muscle over the last 9 months or so, just via text and phone call. Matt, my buddy Matt, and he's no spring chicken, sorry Matt, but he's about 41. So not easy to do. I don't know if some of you might have noticed, I've not quite as, I'm filling the shirt out a little better than I did in February. I've probably put on about 15 pounds myself since February. Still lean, I don't do the gain fat, diet down thing. It's a slow growth of muscle. Now that takes a lot of work. It's hard to do, and most of you ladies probably wouldn't be able to do it if you really, I mean, you'd have to really want it. You'd have to really do it. But you can start shrinking the fat cells, change those fat cells into a healthier tissue that you need to live longer and be healthier. Now, some of you say, well, wow, this is crazy stuff. I've never heard this before. Can I recommend a book? This is called Deep Nutrition. Kate Shanahan is talking about basically the food we need that our human ancestors, okay? I'm not talking about thousands, I'm talking hundreds of years ago, a couple thousand years, how they ate and stayed actually healthier than we are now, okay? Without the diseases that we have now, okay? And lived longer, had bigger skulls, had more symmetry in their face, had more muscle, were able to withstand a much harsher lifestyle because of the way they ate and they prepared their food. So Kate Shanahan, she's a nutritional advisor for the LA Lakers, MD, PhD in epigenetics or genetics, so basically how food affects our genes. And of course now we know our stem cells. So check out the book, Deep Nutrition, great one. I got it on audio because this is kind of thick for me to read. A lot I picked through. But audio, awesome. Deep Nutrition, Kate Shanahan. She's brilliant. But hey, if any of you are looking for a transformation, it's been a long video, so I'm going to wrap it up. If you're looking for a transformation, message me or comment below. Love to talk to you, see if we can work together, help you with your goals. If you know someone that can benefit from hearing this, please tag them in the comments below, and I'll talk to you later.